Okay, welcome to this meeting of the Community Committee, which has been held here at Newton Lees Pavilion on Tuesday, October the 10th, 2023. I am Councillor Terry Stevens and I'll be chairing this meeting. Before we start, there are a couple of housekeeping points to note. We're not expecting any fire drills, so if the fire alarm sounds, please leave as quickly as possible. The fire exits are the assembly points, and the assembly point is in the car park at the front of the building. Toilets are in the foyer. Please can you turn off your mobile phones or put them to silent. We want everyone to be able to hear, and please respect whoever is speaking. Also, you should be aware that meeting has been recorded. The recording may be streamed on our social media channels. I will now ask members of this council committee to introduce themselves, starting with Councillor Sam Brown.
Last name. I think a lot with it tonight. I'm Councillor Sam Brown.
I'm Councillor Andrew Farley, Eden for Bletchley and Fenny Stratford Town Council.
Sorry, I think what?
Around.
Oh, okay. So, hi, I'm Councillor Nathaniel Kelly-Wilson, Town Councillor for Newton Lees and also Chair of Bletchley and Fenny Stratford Town Council.
My name is Richard Graham. I am the Vice Chair of Bletchley and Fenny Stratford Town Council and also Town Councillor for Central Bletchley.
John Fairclough, Deputy Town Clerk.
Davina Pancholi, Events and Community Officer.
Thank you very much. We are also especially pleased to welcome members of the public who are here to observe the meeting or to make representation in our public speaking session. This is a formal meeting that we conducted according to our standing orders. This means members of the public may be representations during the public sessions may only speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. That's okay. This will allow us to complete all our business. We've got quite a big agenda as always. However, if you would like to speak to the council more length, please speak to us afterwards or speak to the officers. So tonight's specific visitors are from Reed Easy, Milton South, and we'll be going through the grant application. So shall we start with the first agenda item? To note, councillors' apologies for absence.
No apology received.
Okay. Agenda 2. So to note that the councillors' declaration of interest in matters on the agenda. Okay, I'll take that as a no. Okay, agenda item 3, to approve the minutes of the Community Committee held on the 27th of June 2023, and note that the meeting of the Community Committee due to take place on the 8th of August was cancelled due to the lack of quorum. So these are on pages 3 and 4 of your pack. No, 3 to 6 on your pack. So we can take them as a true representation of the meeting. Thank you very much. Okay, so item number 4 is the public speaking time. Perfect timing. And so item number 4. So we have got to consider a community grant application from Reed Easy, Milton Keynes South to fund literacy coaching for those who have left the school system unable to read at a cost of £1,169.80p. So we'd like to welcome you to address the council. Like I said, we've got 3 minutes. So if you could give us a summary, your ask, and what the money will go towards, and then we'll have a discussion afterwards.
Okay. Thank you. I was anticipating answering questions, but I'll only use up my 3 minutes by telling them about what I was expecting. So my name is Barry Barrington. I'm team leader for Milton Keynes South branch of Reed Easy, which is increasingly a national charity. It's got something like 80 groups across the whole of the UK. We help adults learn to read who, as you just said, have left the school system without that ability. That's something like 7% of the UK population actually can't read sufficiently to be able to function in life. And that is linked to all kinds of things from poverty, unable to ability to hold down a job, unable to integrate with community life and contribute to the community around them. I did a quick look up on the stats for Bletchley, Bletchley and Fenny, but Bletchley said it was about 45,000 people. So 7% of that would be somewhere over 3,000 people. We've been going for a few years now, and we've already helped 15 people from the Bletchley area. Often that means that we've helped them to graduate, which means they've completed an entire course, somewhere between 6 months and 2 years, one-to-one coaching in a public space. There is no other help they can get for this apart from a group setting, and this is often a hidden problem. People are often really ashamed of the fact they can't read, so they hide it from even their loved ones. So the fact we offer one-to-one coaching provides them with a viable way forward. The ask is we're looking to expand our group. We currently have 14 coaches, which means we can help 14 people at a time. And we've increased across Milton Keynes a little bit broader because we go where the readers come forward. We are changing our strategy and we want to help more people. So to do that, we need a second coordinator and we need to train more coaches and buy more books. And that means we can help more people at a time. And we have a wait list. We just don't know how quickly we can get to them because it depends on how quickly the other readers complete their journey. And so that's what the money will go towards, is recruitment and funding of books, coaches and the coordinator. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Apologies for lateness, on another meeting.
Yeah, we worked that one out. Okay, any of the members would like to ask any questions? Barry. Really easy. So I've got a couple of questions. How many coaches have you supported, coach numbers have you supported since 2015 outside Bletchley and Fenny Stratford? I think you said we've had 15.
Yes.
How many sort of total have you done? Just give us a
50, 50.
50. Okay.
And we really have gone far and wide, so some of those are inside, but we've currently got one scheduled. We're actually trying to constrain down to Milton Keynes just because of the travel expenses above everything else. And we set up with the intent of focusing on Bletchley, which is why we're called Milton Keynes South. But we didn't want to have coaches waiting, so we've gone where the readers come forward. We've done some diagnostics, and of those 50, 15 is by far the largest concentration. So the next largest number is 6, and that's actually in Wolverton.
Okay, thank you. And also the 8 coaching training at the £56, do they cover all the sessions, that £56? Was it?
So the £56.
Well, if it's 6 months or 24 months, does that cover the whole lot?
So the coach is the person who does the teaching, and the reader is the person who learns.
Yeah.
So what the £56 is training the coach.
Right.
So we currently have 14.
Okay.
I'm looking to get to 28.
Gotcha.
If they don't leave us because of life things, because people's lives change and they volunteer to stay on sometimes, then that could actually see us going forward for quite some time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Personally, I think not everybody has the same learning experience at schools, be it their environment they live in, their mental health, or their special educational needs. Doesn't provide that necessary support in an adult not being able to read. So I think it's a really positive initiative. And if those additional places enable them to engage, one of those additional places enables them to engage in society better and make their future bright, then this could be a good return. So I would propose that we give the full grant to Read Easy, MK.
I second.
I've got a second. I've got any votes for?
For.
Well, none against. Very well done. Yeah, so we've got the full grant there. And please come back to us and tell us how it went and give some feedback. But fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you very much. You're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or you can exit stage left.
I used to be on Great Lamson Parish Council, so it's all right. I've experienced this.
That's a very nice way.
But thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much, Barry.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
All the best. Okay, so we'll go on to item number 6. So this is to consider any planning or licensing applications due for determination by Milton Keynes Council. Number 1 is 2302 133 HLU, 25 Stoke Road, Bletchley, Milton Keynes, MK2, 3AB, an erection of a single-storey side/rear elevation. Has anybody got any thoughts on this one? I've read through the consult. There's no opposition to the consultation. There's no impact on parking. So propose we vote no comment on this one. All those a seconder? Or vote? Okay, well, that's no comment. Number 2. So 2302 101 FUL. 139 Queensway, Bletchley, Milton Keynes MK2 2DY, installation of canopy extract to the rear and a new shop front. So for those who don't know, number 30 and 139, this is the old RSPCA build, chat shop,
Right.
Elizabeth Square. So it's that one there. And the proposal is for a peri-peri restaurant according to the design. So have we got any comments on this?
I think it's true to say that people do think there is a proliferation of takeaways in the town centre, but that, you know, it's not something that the council, it's not a planning reason for not having them. And, you know, if people will buy, people will take shops. And so it's, I don't think that we have a planning reason for saying no. It's, you know, the only thing that I would say is I believe that the buildings above Subway and the chemist is residential, and there's obviously going to be an external canopy, and I just think that if we're going to make any comment, we should be asking that the planning authority are happy with regards to noise pollution.
Yeah.
But I don't think that there are any other grounds for
No,
discussion.
I noticed in the pack that they had some specs for the, not the canopy, but for the extraction back. So the spec of it seemed to be okay within. So yeah, but that as a.
I'm guessing that Subway would have exactly the same thing because they're extracting, unless their residences are directly above Subway.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yep. Right, brilliant. Thank you, John. Item number 7. So to note a report from Youth Network MK on the summer project of 2023. Is that something to take, John? Sorry?
No, they're not, no, I thought someone was attending.
No, this is just for noting because they had the summer project where we provided extra funding for people that were not eligible for free school meals with West Bletchley as well. Was that right, Delia?
West Bletchley also gave funding towards the same project to enable people from West Bletchley went on free school meals. So I think we sort of gave me, I think, more or less equivalent amount, the two councils. So it's not part of our regular budgeted youth provision, it was an extra, as it were, which you may remember you agreed to fund out.
Absolutely. It's the 16 days I think they had.
Yeah.
And they had some amazing experiences. I have to say, they went to the Natural History Museum, they had Caldecott they went to, it's 113 children attended 502 sessions. So, you know, they really did have a wonderful experience. Have we got any comments from any of the members?
I'd just like to note that I understand there was 400 spaces available for people who want free school meals, of which 279 people used up those spaces. And there were 240 spaces, which I think we funded jointly with West Bletchley, of which 223 people attended. So actually, I think it's showing that there is a demand for these, and I think that you know, we know that it's even for people who may just be over the line when it comes to the cost of free school meals. it's still difficult to, they can still be very close to the poverty line. They can still be difficult to kind of get through the summer. And I think there's a correlation between children being involved in some activity and, if they're not organising that, if they're not in that kind of activity, but what are they doing instead? So for me, I think it is something that is worth investing in. So I kind of note the report, and I hope that when we're budgeting that we are going to continue to support it.
It's a really good report as well.
Do we know how many were from our parish though?
We don't. We spoke about this earlier, so it's something we can probably find out, but they haven't given that information. I mean, it's a mix from obviously West Bletchley and parish. So I will ask for it, see if we can get some detail on that.
I think that's an important question. I know that I've seen in previous reports, they did give the information, and I remember seeing that there was one with an NN postcode, and actually subsequently we found out that, obviously cousin from somewhere else might have joined child from our parish to go. But I think it is, we want to make sure that our investment is a return for us, and also that we aren't subsidising other parishes,
No, it's very, very good. Any more comments before we move on? Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 8. So to receive a report on the remaining community events for 2023-2024. So over to Davina.
That's me. So I'm not going to go over Halloween and Christmas in great detail because I know we've talked about them previously, but Halloween is shaping up really lovely. So it's the Comic-Con with striking events for a Bletchley-based business actually. They live in Newton-Leeds. So they do them across the country, and they're bringing it to Stadium Square. So we're going to have like Ghostbusters car and food and mystery trail and lots of different things, and a DJ as well. So that'll be quite good. Christmas is kind of all coming together based on the plans that we proposed earlier. So the panto's all booked. The carol singers are booked, the train is booked, lots of food, etc. We've essentially got a partner to run the gingerbread house thing as well, and I think the YMCA are signing up for the Santa Dash, so we should have quite a few people attending that as well, which would be great fun to see. The big thing on this report, I suppose, are the two new. There didn't seem to be anything booked for the first part of 2024, which sits in this financial year. So I'm proposing we talk about Lunar New Year, which is the more inclusive term for Chinese New Year, because that includes a lot of the other cultures. And so that's in February, that's the 10th of February, if I remember correctly. And then Street Iftar, which is our kind of way to celebrate Eid, not just with people who follow Islam, but it's a really inclusive event, a way to bring the community together under one topic and theme. And so we can really look at our strategic priorities and maybe talk about the environmental sustainability and use that as a theme, as a way to bring people together to make it quite inclusive. The Lunar New Year, I'm working with the Milton Keynes Chinese school, and they're helping me to make sure that it's culturally appropriate and that we're doing the right things. So these are events that will be on Stanier Square, so we're not looking at any road closures or anything, so keeping it to the Market Square area, but it will still be bigger, I suppose, than the food and craft, because they've got a specific theme. And for example, Lunar New Year will have some dragon dances potentially and stuff, so there'll be a lot more entertainment involved. With the Street Iftar, we've got two options really. So the cost is either 9,000 or 5,000, depending on what we need to do. So Street Iftar, essentially you feed the community. So it would be us as the council providing meals, and you sit down all together in kind of canteen style rows, and you eat and you connect with your fellow humans. If we did that on Stanier Square, given that it's February, March time, we'll need some shelter, we'll need canopies, etc. And so that's a £4,000 cost. I wonder if we could use Sycamore Hall, having spoken to Will and the team there. They have said that it's kind of safe to use. We'll need to update things like fire safety, etc., which would be at a cost of about £1,000. But that will obviously reduce the need to pay for shelter. And so that will reduce the cost of the overall event. down to £5,000. So that's Sycamore Hall, I suppose.
So one of the things I think about Sycamore Hall is it's across the road from the Jamia Masjid. I think that's the mosque.
Yes.
I think but I know that February can actually be quite cold, and we don't have any heating in there. So would there be a plan? Would we have to do anything to make the building warmer for that?
Yes, so yes and no. So as part of the cost, the £5,000, that includes working with the people who provided the infrastructure for Big Street Eat, and they do a range of things. So they can do like patio heaters and things as well. They can do lighting. They can even provide water and stuff if we need. But again, I've spoken to Will. We can turn on the toilets without there being an issue. I think there was a small leak essentially. And depending on what we do with the food, we won't need any water or anything in the kitchen. So in regards to comfort heating, yes, we can definitely provide an external solution within that £5,000 budget.
So what sort of numbers are we looking at? So if you're looking at saying £5,000 to provide food, how many are you expecting to feed?
I mean, it's a bit more than food with the £5,000 budget, because that's the infrastructure and stuff as well. The hall can take 250 people at one time seated. I think was the number that Will gave me. So it would be a ticketed event because we'd have to obviously manage those numbers and things. But what you tend to find, because this event will run from, it's for breaking the fast, so it's a kind of afternoon/evening event. So it will start about 4 p.m. finish about 9 p.m. and you eat probably about 6:30, given the time of the sunset, etc. So you'll probably end up with whoever's booked those tickets are the people that will stay. You won't almost, like in a restaurant, you won't get multiple seating. It will just be that one set of people. So probably around 250 people. These are very, very popular events across Luton and across Bedford. And we have a really diverse community in the area that do celebrate Eid. Not just within Bletchley and Fenny Stratford, but just on the other side towards Leighton Buzzard as well. So it's definitely something that'll be well attended.
In terms of the risk assessment, would we have to bear that cost, or is that going to come from another budget?
No, so that would be within. I don't know actually what Will's thinking about that. The updating of the fire safety and stuff, the building and stuff.
I think we need to do a bit more work on it. We have got a meeting of the Sycamore building working group evening. So I think that I mean, Will does seem to think it's doable within a reasonable amount. I think it's fire extinguishers, the heating, I think the water's fine. It's just a question of where. I think my question about it is where we're going to be with the project, the Sycamore Buildings project. But I think we should be able to use it.
Yeah. It's the funding. I don't know what funding we've got. Does this fit into our budget?
It does, yeah, for the 23-24 year.
Yeah, along with what else have we got coming up in that
So
budget?
there's Halloween, Christmas, Lunar New Year and Street Fest. So those five.
Is Easter after April?
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
It falls into next year.
So
one of the other things that I say, I think Delia makes a really important point. The Buildings Committee has not met yet, so Buildings Working Group has not met yet, so we don't know what is going to happen there. I know that I really see that the community on the Lakes Estate really need a resource, and you know, I'm all for putting our pedal to the metal now that we've got planning permission to that site. But then I also kind of sat there and was sitting there thinking and going, you know, is this something that we can work with, for instance, the mosque across the road? You know, they've got parking on that site, and you know, or is it something that we could have in Fenny Stratford? Or you know, there's no, like, I think it's probably something that could be picked up and could be done with, you know, with us funding, but in a partner building or whatever. So I think I'm probably for the events, but let's not be fixed on the location too much. But I prefer a £5,000 event rather than a £9,000 event.
Yeah. I think one of the good things about having it at Sycamore Hall would be that it would demonstrate to the community, you haven't been in the building quite a long time, that it is our intention to open, and it could, and they could see it, and they could see the condition it's in at the moment, and it could be part of our engagement.
And they could see what it needs, £1.6 million spending on it.
It needs to be done.
Yeah.
So I think that is another good argument for doing it at Sycamore.
I think it's great.
I was quite surprised when I saw it, a Sycamore Hall there. I read it 3 times. I think, sure, that's it. That's if it's
Roughly when in January is this?
If that was February, is March, sorry, 16th of March roughly.
Oh,
okay. So the recommendation is to proceed with Halloween and Christmas. The only comments about Halloween is I've not seen anything social media yet.
Oh, right.
And especially it's been up as there under a rock or something like that. So especially with Comic Con.
It's been posted loads, and we've got an A4 poster going out across Queensway this week as well, so it'll be in the different shops.
When you're doing communication, is there something that we can share, like a link that we can share to councillors and get them to kind of put on there? Because I know that, like, just in Newton Lees, I know that there are a really large number of Muslim residents, and they love it when people wish them Eid Mubarak, and that people are kind of being the same as we feel at Christmas. And so I think it would be great. I would love to share that we are doing these events, and I'm really pleased that we are doing some more events which reflect the diversity of the people that live here. So great.
In terms of volunteers, you need volunteers doing it. I know it's a hard one sometimes, but
definitely for iftar, we'll need some bodies on the ground to help with just seating people and managing clearing and tables and just being present as well. As our first iftar, it's quite a significant thing. And same with Lunar New Year, we'll probably need some bodies on the ground, but probably not like loads, especially if we're working with the Chinese school as well, because they'll be great at volunteering for that.
And the Christmas, I think social media campaign's done really well. It's really, really good. It's really fresh. It's really sort of engaging. And how many people have been booked into the pantomime so far? Do you know how many numbers?
There's only 4 at the moment, but it needs a big push.
It's still early.
And we've got the
It's early. There's only 6 weeks to go. So
I thought birthday sheets reminded us 5 weeks further.
if we don't get the seats booked, so we're not just going to let it do it first come first served.
Oh yeah, and even if you book it and there's free, the point of booking it is so that we know on the day if we need to push people to go there, because the worst thing for the panto would be that they're performing to empty seats. So it's really about us having an awareness.
People are there, they're going to just go and sit and watch it anyway.
Absolutely, but that's the point, is that it's open for everybody, but it helps us to manage numbers as well, because if we suddenly got a morning showing being overbooked.
Have we contacted all of the school offices in the parish and said, can they put it in their newsletters? Because I think that this is the quite often, but all of us, I know that certainly at the schools my son goes to, they love getting stuff that's going on in the community, and they will, and it's a way of free publicity. And it also, we put a £2 charge on this event, but actually it's just a way of kind of managing the numbers. But with that, it's like hot drink, soft drink, and popcorn. So actually, it's not really.
It's not that you get.
It's basically an affordable event for people, and I think that the school might really like that.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a difficult balance with Halloween here. I don't want to over push Christmas in front of Halloween. So 10 days, and then all you'll hear about is Christmas on Queensway.
It's no decision to be made tonight. It's just really, just carry over.
So I just need to make sure I'm re-looking at the location for iftar.
Yeah. Well, we've got some time before we have to make that decision of Sycamore Hall or here or Fenny Stratford.
But yes and no.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll play you. That's we can do, I think. But no, thanks very much for that, Sabina. Okay, so we go on to review the draft 24-25 events calendar and consider any proposals for budgetary increases or decreases for community events. So page 59, 62 in your packs. So back to you, Davina.
Yes, this one is a meaty one. So on the list, you can see I'm going to just jump ahead to the actual calendar. So you'll see that the big difference from last or from this current calendar is that there's actually no food and craft markets. And that's a conscious decision because our last two food and craft markets have not drawn the footfall because there's not been a theme, I suppose, or a sense of entertainment that people will receive. It's just been a market. And actually, if we look, obviously, Bletchley doesn't have a market as such because people aren't really drawn out for that particular thing. But when we had the big streetie or the excitement around Halloween, for example, because there's a theme and things for people to come to, they're interested to come out. So it's not that the footfall isn't there, we just have to give them a reason to pick our event over others. So that's the big thing. And essentially, when you look at all of our events, they're all food and craft markets, just with stuff layered on top. You know, there was food and craft at the big street eat. We just put a load of other stuff on top of it. So April 27th is Earth Day for 2024. Do you know what I haven't done? I've missed off Easter.
I was just about to miss Easter.
It is 20, so Easter is 2023, but from a budget perspective, it's very low budget. So that is on the list, I promise you, on my desk. So that's on the previous report, and that's what we will do. We'll do something similar to what we did last year around Easter hunt and the trail and things with food and craft. So that'll be a themed event. So going forward onto 2024, Earth Day, to try and fit in with some of our objectives of the council around sustainability and the environment and really take a focused effort. Earth Day itself is April 22nd, so it's within the kind of area of that and making sure that we are doing more towards that. That will be food and craft with potentially with some talks or some money saving tips and things around sustainability and recycling, etc.
That's the environmental committee would be interested in that one.
Yeah, hopefully I'd like to link up with people like Axel as well to make sure we're doing that. June 8th, second vegan market. July 27th is the biggie, which is the same Saturday, so it's the last Saturday of the month. August and September for events typically tend to be quiet for attendees. People are on holiday or they start, September events have been really quiet this year with people starting to, it's that weird gap between summer and Christmas where people start saving money a little bit. And then October, a new event proposed, so Apple Day, but I propose we use the orchard, which would be really nice. So typically you have a couple of stalls and you have juice making facilities that people can come and have a go at and little craft games using apples, etc. October, Halloween, and I'd like to do a pumpkin patch as well on somewhere maybe like Leon Rec. I have experience of putting together a one-day pumpkin patch very recently, and they're so popular across the country. They're really, really popular events, which would be great. And maybe we can include the Comic-Con with that as well, depending on how that goes this year. So that would be a nice big event. New again for November is Diwali/Ungot. So Ungot is the day after Diwali, which is technically our new year. And again, it's one of those that's very similar to Iftar. It's about feeding the community. In our cultures, feeding is the way that we connect and the way that we build relations, etc. So it will be the celebration of Diwali and Ungot, because on Diwali people will be with their families. So we're not going to do it like actually on Diwali day. That doesn't make sense. December 7th is Christmas, which is the first Saturday of December, much like it is this year. There's been a conscious decision around some of these dates to fall within a particular range of pay as well. So when people are paid, because our food and craft again this year has been the third weekend of the month, which is always the most difficult weekend for anybody in your pay cycle. So anyone that we are able to just do, they tend to be the second Saturday of the month, which is a successful week for markets across the country. Otherwise, we've aligned it to the particular thing that's going on, like Halloween or Christmas, for example. And then 2024, proposing another vegan market in January, Lunar New Year again, depending on how this one goes, Street Iftar and Easter, obviously, January, February, March. So we've got a couple of gaps, but they'll be needed to organise the other events.
What I think I heard you say with regards to food and craft markets, which, really, being honest, it's the only type of market that we currently have any success with in Bletchley today, even though I think it's been reducing. Are you saying that if we have any event in Queensway, we will be involving some kind of food and craft market?
Every one of these, I have food and craft is the basis of every event. You literally
It's actually just trying to get the market to meet a theme.
They're just kind of themed.
So we get a double bubble for people coming because they feel that they're going to an event and there's a market.
Yes, they're absolutely, every single one of these are, so in theory, we've got 11 food and craft markets, but they're all themed. So the reason they're named those things is because that has budget implications around what you do.
Thank you.
So money-wise, the budget has gone up. Obviously, you can see some of the smaller events, things like Earth Day and Apple Day. Really, it's about the cost being around infrastructure or potentially the hiring of some entertainment to a minor degree. So that's those. And then you've got the more, I suppose, medium events like Lunar New Year, Diwali. Just looking at kind of the breakdown of the diversity based on the census data that's come through recently, we don't need to necessarily this year close roads and things like that. And so the cost is reduced because we can keep it to Stanley Square and still do a very good job of it. And then you've obviously got the big ones, as we have done for the last couple of years, which are Big Street Eat and Christmas, where we do the whole road closure and stuff. So the budget has gone up, but our income generated will definitely go up. So 2023, since me starting in March, and up until the end of the financial year, our income on events is roughly around 4,500, whereas in previous years, obviously, we've not had income from events. And so based on that, next year, we should be doubling, just over double income from what we have on those. So there is some clawback in the events, and just the value of what they bring as well.
I was going to say, I understand the budget goes up, and I see this as kind of an investment. I think from the things that are included in both the Christmas and the Big Street Eat, and with a big focus on entertainment and art, like as in entertainment is art. I want to see that we're applying to the National Lottery and whether, I know that we got a grant last year and we won't always get them, but I think it's beneficial to see if we can get any money towards those things and, selling the fact that we are a really diverse area, and actually we are an area where there is some poverty. So actually doing things like having a panto in the high street makes it kind of really accessible to people who might not be able to afford that. And actually, we could even grow it. So actually, next year we might have one in the town, and actually we might do other kind of pop-ups elsewhere in the parish. So I think for me, I'd just like to see that we're making applications to support what we're doing.
Yeah, and sponsorships from the large corporates around.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Any other questions for any of the members? So again, it's a busy, packed schedule, which just shows there's the need in the community for events, and it's a really good way of engaging, and they've got better and better. So, do you need it's just there's not a vote required, is there? It's just provisional.
I suppose for me, it's kind of an understanding of, are you happy for me to crack on? Because obviously with things like things
Sorry, I don't think you can agree all of it right now. I think you've got to do it a bit stage. I know that you need to get a few, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's just that you've got to put the proposal forward for the budget. So if this is the sort of thing that this committee wants to do, and that's the budget you're looking at, that has to be proposed for finance and governance, and it has to be built into the budget for next year. I mean, Davina will want to start doing work.
I was going to say, with things like if that, the reason we came across this year is because of the timing, same with the planning, so it is kind of.
But we have got budget, you said, for the events that are between Christmas and Easter. So
Yeah.
we've got the budget for that. So hopefully we will have the budget finalised in January, because that's when the whole budget has to be finalised. But I mean, I think if this is what this committee wants, then you've got to get behind this budget and advocate for it when all the different committees will be arguing for their different.
For the same pound, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So on the basis that we're saying it's going to cost us 62,000 and there is 10,000, we think there's going to be £10,300 worth of income, I would like to propose that we have a budget of 55k, which is 50 for me, plus 5,000 contingency, just in case we don't hit the 10k. So actually, I would want to make that proposal to finance and governance that what we do, because then, you know, we're taking account that we're going to get the income.
The income, but you also got some risk there.
There is some risk, but I think that's why I also want to apply for grants.
That's right. Yeah.
So that, and I'm happy for people to change if they feel we should be doing something different.
Any other thoughts?
I support the range of events that are coming up this year and into next year. And I think it's important that we engage with, right across the board with all the different people in the community and be seen as a council to be doing a little bit more to get people out on the street and then people together. And I fully support what's going on.
Those in favour of that?
So I second Ethan's.
Yeah. Any changes to the proposal at all? We are all.
Were you agreeing in principle?
Well, the budget, we need to go to the budget.
Yes.
We're agreeing that this is our calendar
Next year.
55. With the provision we've got 10.3 in income generated, and also some money we can get from grants. So I think that's a reasonable, really good practical approach.
Okay.
So are we okay with that?
Yeah.
Approach? We'll try and fight our pound.
Like that with financing.
Okay. Thank you, Davina. That's really good. Item number 10, to receive a report on the newsletter production and distribution and consider members' feedback on the council's digital and printed engagement. Some 64 in your pack.
So I can speak to this, Chair, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So Bespoke Media are the company that we've been working with for a number of years to handle the whole process basically of our newsletter. They've come to some challenging times and we're no longer kind of working with them. So we have been pointed direct to the printers and distribution company at the moment directly. It's kind of, we've only found out recently, this is kind of a bit of a surprise for us. So it's more just to kind of advise you that's what's happening. So no real changes apart from we are going direct to the people that do that for us. The newsletter should be going out this week or will be going out this week. It's kind of just get some feedback from everyone really on it as well, on our digital and printed newsletters. I think it would be interesting to see.
Yeah, finance.
Yeah.
Financial implications.
Yeah, we've increased the number of pages on the newsletter because we've got more. So it has gone up slightly in terms of the what we're printing. Yeah.
So we're going to explore the feedback from advertising.
A small amount, not much. Yeah. Talking sort of each edition probably £100, £200 maybe.
So are we talking about advertising? Are we putting it out to quite a lot of businesses in the area to advertise, or is that a feature inside the newsletter?
Yeah, so it's, we constantly, you can advertise in the newsletter, we're promoting on social media. So, you know, I think we can be more proactive in doing that by bringing people up and, you know, doing it that way.
It takes time. Yeah. So with regards to the design and everything else of the actual newsletter, putting it all together, we do that ourselves.
It's done in-house, yeah.
I'm trying to understand, did we go through a third party and into the printers and now we're
Basically,
straight to the
Bespoke Media would handle the whole process. So we would design it, give it to Bespoke Media, and they would do like kind of the liaison with the printers, distributors. But they've disappeared. I think it was, I don't know when it was agreed, what year it was agreed to use Bespoke Media, but I'm sure it went to council before my time. But we've had news the last couple of weeks that this person's kind of disappeared. So we've kind of, for this edition, had to go, go straight to the printers that they were using. Yeah, the other councils be using, Woughton.
just regards to delivery and delivery methods.
That's the same.
The printers that we're still using.
Yeah. So it's all the same people that have been using.
For this edition.
Yeah, for this
Just
edition.
because we would, otherwise we wouldn't have had to use that. So for this.
No, I meant the distribution side of things, because you was going through a third party to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they've now gone.
But she was using a
Yeah, so Bespoke Media was the person that was handling the whole process. So we gave them the design, and then she gave it to the printers and distribution. We're using the same printers and distribution that they were using at for this one.
So instead of dealing with the third party contractor, we're now dealing with the third parties,
We're going direct.
subcontractors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I want to.
Exactly that.
That's what I want to.
and it remains to be seen how that process goes this time and how much time, staff time goes into that. Because there's been quite a bit already, but then I suppose it's been an unusual situation with this.
And it happened all of a sudden as well. So it's very out of the blue. So we had to kind of work with it.
Okay, so that's a FYI, really, isn't it? You don't need any decisions, you just need.
No, and
still carrying on with it.
Exactly that, and as I said, any members' feedback on the digital printed engagement would be welcomed. Anyone has any comments?
Or if not tonight,
You can have a look.
stage.
Yeah.
But the newsletter should be through your door this week. Let us know if you received it. That'd be really good.
Yeah, but do record the amount of officer time it's taken since we've lost the agent and such.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Thank you, John. Any other questions before we move on? Yeah, we'll move on. Okay, so the next one is item number 11, to review the town council's provision of CCTV to combat antisocial behaviour and to make recommendations for future expenditure. This is on pages 65 to 84. Is this still a agenda item which is for open, or is it a closed one, this discussion?
It can be open. Yeah, it's to note. I think we've got renewal coming up in end of November.
Yeah.
We have 4 cameras that are in our area that we get through Crime Wave. The 4th camera's always been funded by Milton Keynes City Council. However, this year it's not going to be. We've had news that they're not going to be funding it kind of moving forward. So I guess decisions need to be made. I've put some detail into the report, kind of how much it's going to cost for the 4 cameras, with us kind of taking on that 4th camera. If you can see, there's a discount if we take on a longer contract. So if it's a 36-month contract, we get a discounted price per camera. So I think initially we paid 7,800 per camera. So we did that times 3, and then Milton Keynes Council did the 4th. However, if we're not going to get that 4th camera, I think the price dropped to 5,800 if we do a 36-month contract. So if you times that by 4 over the year, I think it's less than what we would pay. It's 7,800 for 4 cameras.
Any thoughts on that from any members?
I just like to ask, within the antisocial behaviour wording, is fly tipping coming into that?
We have occasionally used the cameras for fly tipping, but the intention, the council's intention when we first started the contract, was that this was about community safety rather than about fly tipping, but it has expanded to include aspects of antisocial behaviour. So from time to time we have deployed a camera for fly tipping. So for example, we did deploy a camera on Queensway because there was a lot of fly tipping in Albert Street, which was resulting in rats, which affected community safety in my view. And so we did deploy a camera for fly tipping on that occasion, but generally it's been more about crime and community safety. But of course, it's a matter for the council to decide how it uses the cameras. So, you know, if you've got a proposal on that, that's
I'm aware of a certain area within the parish that is fly tipped on a regular basis, and I report it to Milton Keynes Council in the normal way. Unfortunately, it seems since Serco have lost the contract, I've been reporting it, as I say, in a normal way, but I've got 3 outstanding lots of fly tipping in this particular spot. And even with follow-up emails, I'm getting absolutely nowhere. So people are just regularly fly tipping on this particular spot, and I'm a bit of a loss to how to take it forward, because I'm sort of exhausting all my avenues, and I'm really getting no response from anybody either, unfortunately.
Is it the area that I think it is?
Yes, yeah.
We have looked. Milton Keynes Council did commit to putting a camera there themselves, because they also deployed cameras to look at fly tipping. So they did make a commitment on that, and I will take that away and follow that one up as a specific instance to see what happened about that. But because they did make that commitment. I understand your frustration, councillor, and it's a matter for the council to decide how it wants to use the cameras going forward. But regardless of whatever you decide on that, I will go back and follow that particular deployment.
Any thoughts on that, Richard?
So have we got any data regarding this 4th camera, if we decide to keep it or not, in respect of what it's used for?
Would it be helpful for me to say that because of the data protection that's required, we do not hold the footage organised and held by Crimeway. They hold all the footage. We access it when there are reasons why we think we need to look at the footage, or we tell Crimeway, if it was an example, for example, with fly tipping and that incident in Albert Street, where we'd say, we want you to look for this, and they look for it. But because of the way that the data is held, we, as the council, we do not see the specific data unless we have a particular reason to see the actual footage. What we receive are monthly reports from Crimeway, which then the summary of which is passed on to you via the councillor briefing on a regular basis. So that's the data that we actually hold, which describes how the footage requests that have been submitted have been used, and whether anything has come of them, and whether there have been convictions or prosecutions or convictions, and that information is provided to council on a regular basis.
So what I'm trying to get at is that use of that 4th camera, say for instance, is it viable or not? So we have to decide whether we're going to keep on the 4th camera, but we don't know whether that camera is viable or not because we don't get the footage. But
no. So the cameras are redeployed. So viability has to be assessed against where the camera is deployed at a given time. So that camera was funded by Milton Keynes Council specifically for use on the Lakes estate. And I did report a year ago that camera would not be funded going forward when we were told about that. Now, in practice, the majority of our camera deployment has been on the Lakes estate because that is where the police, who are the people who guide us the most on where the cameras are deployed, have been asking for the cameras to be. So if you remember, the policy that you agreed on when you decided to have the cameras was that we would deploy based on requests from the police primarily. Secondly, on requests from members, which we would then consult the police about. So if members wanted to deploy in a different area other than the ones that the police were requesting, we would talk to the police about whether or not to deploy in that area, because sometimes they don't want us to deploy a camera if they've got operations ongoing where it would interfere with that. So we always consult the police about where we put the cameras, and that's how the decision about where cameras are deployed is made. And that's the policy that you as a council agreed on previously.
So currently we spend £23,400 on 3 cameras.
Yes.
And if we commit to a 3-year deal, we will get 4 cameras for £23,200.
Yes.
So we're actually saving £200 a year on the commitment that we sign up for 3 years. I don't think anyone sitting here wants to remove the 3 cameras that we've got. So actually I see this as saying, let's sign up for the 3 years and get an extra camera for free. So that.
However, you could have the 3 cameras for less money.
I just think for me, we've committed to that money. We know that I know that Andrew and I have had conversations about the site off of Stoke Road, I think it is, where, and actually we kind of, it's sad, but there's like a hierarchy of crime. Yeah, and I think that having an extra camera like that, we could actually say, well, actually, we want to have 3 cameras that are for crime, and we could have 1 that is for flag tipping, or, or 1 that we kind of may consider using in another way. It may well be that the police come and say to us, actually, we've got another place that we'd really like to watch, or whatever. But I don't want to be cutting. I don't want to be cutting the amount of money that we are spending towards crime reduction. I see this as, buy 3, get 1 free. So I would propose that we take the 4 cameras for the £23,200.
Or you can have 3 cameras for 36, but for just under £6,000, it would be 18 or 17, 6. That's the decision. Do you want the 4th camera or the 3 cameras?
I've made a proposal.
Yeah. Not seconded.
I'll second.
Any of those 4 that the against? There we go. That's through. So Andy, you may be getting a camera before you know it.
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, whilst we're on the subject, and we know that Serco, there's an issue with Serco and Suez, and is there anything that we can look into to, not that we're going to take permanent responsibility for clearing this site, but is there something that we can do until other organisations have got themselves sorted about this site, if you're saying it's still not been cleared up?
The problem with that specific site is that it's an absolute prime location for fly tipping because of where it is and it being, hidden. And it's just very conveniently off the.
It's that kind of like fake little turn-in, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's on, another feature of it is that it's on the county border, which never helps, does it? We've seen, got 2 authorities, it's right on the border of the two areas. So it is very difficult to do something about it. That's why we want the camera and a commitment from council or another to do prosecutions. But unfortunately, I think it'll always be a popular spot for fly tipping.
I'm just really worried that, I'm just really worried myself that it's not being moved and it's continuing to grow, and also the time of year is someone might set light to it, So it would be great if they're not wanting to, we are not a waste authority, but if there's something that we can do to
I think one of the best things we can do is keep taking photographs.
Okay.
And photographs, because photographs speak 1,000 words. I can write as many letters and emails as I like. More photographs we can send in to show the scale of the programme, and perhaps, Andrew, if you can take a photo on your phone every time. It really helps.
I don't think that's just the only area. I think there's bands that have been around the estate and dropped off rubbish when they don't even live down there. Because I've seen it here and there, not seen the vans, but I've seen spots of rubbish they put. So ongoing issue really.
Thank you for your comments. So shall we move on to item 12? To approve the purchase and donation of canned food items for the MK Can World Record attempt. So we've committed to 350 tins.
We have indeed.
How many have we got?
We've not very many at the moment. That's why we're here on this item. The thing has been working really hard to try and push it as much as we can, but we haven't quite got the amount we've got. We're short of 330 to be exact, which is unfortunate. But no, that's the position we're in. The event is a week on Monday on the 16th. So obviously we do want to turn up with the the amount we've committed to. We tried to collect it from here and there and pushed it out on social media, at events, but we've just not had any luck really. Apart from some staff donating quite we've got. So we really want to go and do this event. So so it's to approve kind of the extra cans, so we can go to the event with the 330. So what do you think?
The poor sure 20 cans. I mean, how many councils we got? Not one of them for brought any in. Is there a chance to do a one final push before we buy any?
Yeah.
To rally some.
I'm happy to go and buy some, but I don't eat canned foods. That's why I've not donated any. So
I have got some. Actually, the weekend I said I need to go and get some cans up, but it just didn't happen.
Marie's given some as well.
Yes, I have. I can give you some more. I didn't really realise you only had 20 though.
Oh, 20.
We keep looking at them. They're on our shelf. We keep looking at them every day.
I just think that we just ask the counts the officers to go and buy the cans.
I think you could have put out to donate to the spotlight or to the house. Or I haven't seen any of that.
We have. It's literally been everywhere. And there were big signs at Food and Craft. Maybe event as well, and to collect it, an email went out to the council.
Yeah, it's a hard time with.
Cost of living, people just saying.
I think
it's a really.
The point is, where you're in the deprived area, aren't you? So you're not going to be donating when they're the ones that are struggling.
When we're offered, when the cost of living's finished, then maybe, but we've got a long way to go.
Still poor though.
It will. Maybe a few years though.
A lot to see.
it's not really helpful, but just that, when we were thinking about what we could do about it as an office team, we just thought, well, this is the equivalent of making a donation to the food bank, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we know that donations to the food bank have reduced by 40% over the last 12 months. We are donating food to support communities, including our own community, but by donating it for this can challenge, it's raising awareness and enabling the food bank to try and get more donations than if we just made a donation in a quiet way, in the normal way. So bearing in mind that we're a distribution centre, the food bank, it seems really important to support.
Okay, well, I will double it. I will give you another 20. Make it to 40, and then that's my contribution, because I think that's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so I'll give you 20 tomorrow to be for someone to collect or something.
Yeah, appreciate it.
But I suppose we buy.
I also do, and I mean, do we need to provide? Is that enough? Should we provide any more?
If we get some more from the councillors, but we should certainly make 350.
Yeah, so that's what we've committed to. That's the stretch we'll get when we turn up next Monday. We get a stretch of an area. Yes, and we've got, that's the idea is to, so it's good promotion, you know, we'll be there with our, let's see, Fenny Stratford Town Council flag, we're on brand as well on our fleeces, so it's a good opportunity. It's Monday the 16th, Camel Park. We're going to be there from 8:30, I think we'll be there.
We can't make it.
We've got 4 officers, officer team that will be there.
Okay. Well, so suppose we,
I think rather than saying an amount, let's just say you're authorised to go and buy 330 cans.
yeah.
Because I don't want people.
We want to get selected as well.
Yeah, really different things.
Yeah.
310 now, it's gone down a bit.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
No problem. That's a resounding, yes, we can do it. 13, there's an update on the white ribbon activities and to consider funding printing of helps at hand materials, pages 87 to 88 in your packs.
Would you like me to speak to this, Chair? As you know, we're white ribbon accredited, and as officers, we've been trying to do some work towards our action plan during the course of the year, and we've struggled a bit with member commitment to the white ribbon project this year. I think there's been an awful lot going on. So as officers, we've continued along doing the things that we can do ourselves. One of which is that I have worked with other organisations as a co-organiser of the White Ribbon Vigil this year, which will be taking place on the 25th of November at the Rose. It's a Saturday this year, which I don't know if that makes it easier or more difficult for people to attend. So we've put some officer time into helping to organise that event and producing the publicity materials for it and moving forward with it. We've also done some work in partnership with Milton Keynes Council and Milton Keynes Sir Optimists, which is about producing publicity materials about white ribbon and support for women who are victims or survivors of abuse. And the bookmark that you see in your pack is really, I mean, I'm not sure how many people would use it as a bookmark, because I'm not sure how many people use bookmarks, but it's just another way of having a leaflet with the key agencies that help support survivors. And it's a bit of a palaver. You have to go to White Ribbon to get approval for any kind of publicity material like this, and they're very strict about the presentation of the materials, but this has been approved after a lot of effort between the organisations involved. So we've entered into this with Milton Keynes, Sir Optimists and Milton Keynes City Council, and we'd like to print up to, I think the idea is that these would be distributed to sixth forms and to Milton Keynes College for over 16, people who are over 16. But we'd also have some ourselves that we'd be able to use at our events and to promote White Ribbon. It's a bit more practical, it's something we've got that shows me. So the total cost of the printing of these bookmarks is £670, £670, and I'd like to ask the council to consider giving a third of that.
Members, I think that's it.
Do we know that the other organisations are willing to fund it?
Yes, yes, they are. So it will, if we give our commitment, it will, funding will be, the printing will be done.
I just want to say to everyone, this is really important. This was we have White Ribbon accreditation at this council and also in Milton Keynes because of our Amanda, and it feels to me that this is a legacy thing that we should be doing. I'm also, I spoke at last year's event at the Rose, and I read a poem about what it is like to be the child of somebody who suffers domestic violence. And my mum was abused by my dad I was 16 when it stopped, and she finally left him, and actually the trauma affected me until I was 30. And so I think that this is really needed and really important. And unfortunately, in the types of times that we're in, this sort of stuff actually goes up. So I think more than ever, it's needed, and I would kind of ask people to support it.
So I propose that we allocate the funding, 200 to White Ribbon for the printing. To a seconder. All four. Okay.
Also, just to mention that we are during the 16 days of activity this year, which is from the 25th to the 10th of December, we are planning a social media campaign with posting on our socials every day with stuff about White Ribbon. We're also going to be visiting 28th of November, and I'm suggesting that we talk to people at the Larder about the campaign that Milton Keynes City Council is running at the moment, which is about challenging men who speak in a detrimental way about women, which then can go on to lead to further kinds of abuse. So Milton Keynes Council officers have agreed to come and support that, and if any of the White Ribbon ambassadors or champions would like to come along to that Larder on the 28th, they'd be very welcome.
28th of November.
28th of November.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. No, I went last year. It was very well received. Indeed. Thank you very much. And our final one is to note the report showing income and expenditure against budget which falls within the remit of the committee, and to consider any recommendations for inclusion in the 24-25 budget. Talked about the new events, haven't we? So that's going to go in at 55. Is there anything in here? I don't know.
Either savings or new proposals, but we do need to look really robustly at the budget this year, as we discussed when we last talked about it at full council. We need to look at it really robustly. So, yeah.
Question on the wellbeing. Based upon the time in the year, so is this is month 7? Does that mean 7 months from April? Or what?
Yes,
yeah.
7 months from April.
So it looks like we are, if the spend remains the same, that we'll still remain in budget for free swims, but it looks like we could go over on health and wellbeing.
I think, didn't we put a cap on?
Yeah, that'd be capped. So that's the council that's fine. That should be, that's capped.
So actually what we're saying is, with all of the spaces that we are funding in the wellbeing counselling project being used.
Yeah.
Is where you can get more income.
That's one thing we've definitely got to think about, and whether we can do more grant applications for the activities that we're doing.
Also, we've got some money in here for Citizens Advice Bureau, but we're not doing anything with them, and I think we could look at whether there are alternative organisations that we could use that money for, but a similar thing. I don't know if there are any local Milton Keynes organisations that actually don't come with the overheads of citizens advice, and maybe the officer team could investigate that and bring that back to the meeting.
Yeah.
Even if it's about next year's spend rather than this year's spend, if we're not able to sort it. Any more questions from me?
Just, it's not on the agenda, but we have learned today that we are going to have £10,000 for supporting the winter, from Milton Keynes Council for supporting the winter plans, which is, you know, an attempt by Milton Keynes Council to help mitigate the cost of living crisis by supporting town and parish councils to deliver services. Unfortunately, we only got the confirmation today that that's the amount we can apply for, but I have already applied for it. We will be getting it. So decisions about how that's spent will have to be considered going forward, but it may be that that £8,000 that was set aside for information and advice that was used by citizens advice and hasn't been, some of that could be used to provide perhaps more money saving advice, or to go alongside the warm spaces and the other things that we did last year and that were really popular if councils minded to carry on doing those same things.
Although the cost of energy has gone down, people are saying that there could be more use this year because a lot of fixed price energy deals that people might have had, like maybe 12 or 24 months, might be coming to an end. So a lot of people who were maybe shielded last year, maybe not shielded this year. So I think that's probably a good idea.
The food's still gone up though, hasn't it? It's to find a way of, I don't know what kind of food.
Well, the activities you did last year were really good, weren't they? Really welcomed, and we looked at the same again this year.
Yeah, I'm happy to, I've already said that I'm happy to support doing it again.
I think everybody, that was very well received by everybody, so I think it was foolish to reinvent the wheel when those activities were well received and well attended by the community. So it'd be great if Councillor Weiner's happy to continue with that work.
Very happy to do.
Brilliant. Anything you suggested an alternative sort of money saving?
I just think there's maybe, I have given details of one organisation and maybe others in Milton Keynes that we could work with, but I just worry that with an organisation like Citizens Advice, a lot of it goes to their overhead or whatever. And actually what I think we are about at this council is actually making sure that it's the people that get the impact of our funding, not the overhead. So that's what, and I think it's something that's really worked with West Bletchley Wellbeing in terms of, you know, we're seeing a lot more people getting counselling as a result of our funding. And I think if we could redirect the money for citizen advice to maybe an alternative organisation, we might see more bang for our buck.
Another thing that I've been working on, which is not, wouldn't be for the citizens advice funding, which might be something that council's interested in. I've been talking to Future Wolverton, which is, you know, the community energy charity, about doing some workshops in Bletchley, again about saving money through simple measures in your home. And they've also talked to us about potentially whether we'd be interested in housing some equipment that they've got, which can be used by residents with a couple of volunteers to sort of to go into houses and measure, look for cold spots, look for where the heat's escaping, and then try and identify some cost saving measures. So it's something that I've been talking to them about, but I've just not had time to progress it as far as I'd like to. But it's something that does seem to me to be something really worthwhile, especially longer term, because it's not just the cost of living crisis there, it's also the energy efficiency and climate change. So something to continue working on, just to let you know.
Do you know, I know this is a silly question, and I probably can't answer, do you know if we're due to have a bad wind on the trip? Anyone web ahead? Anyone? The predicted future?
Several have a nice warm October.
Is it quite warm at the minute?
It depends if the jet stream drops. If it drops, then we probably will do. It's quite high at the moment.
It always seems to me like it's really, the worst part is January, February.
I mean, it was quite mild last year, really. Had a few floods, not many. We just don't want to go back to winters we used to have in the 80s. Always cold for weeks on end.
So, we're done. Thank you very much for attending tonight. I'll close this meeting at 20:50.